I think a lot of times those same people have a misconception of what community means, or at least they focus on the positive aspects of community that a single individual will gain from being a part of a community. So a support system, a greater sense of fulfillment, and by consequence, happiness and things like that. But that comes with a price that we don't really talk about. And that price is sacrifice
Yeah.
because like I mentioned before, like I think they kind of talk about community as if it's a social circle, but it's more than a social circle because a community requires investment from every member of the community. And that could be any number of things, but it's financial investment, it's sweat equity investment, so you have to give as much as you take. And we kind of focus more on the what do I get out of it versus what do I have to give. So maybe talk about, your experience with that and maybe how it relates to OSBA and your attempts to build this Orthodox community of business owners.
Yeah. Starting out, I just engage in simple questions, conversations, trying to take the time to get to know the people that I reach out to. And I think I've pushed past a sort of awkward phase where there seems to be some momentum behind it. Well, also too, it's because uh, well, there's already quite a bit of momentum behind orthodoxy, uh, in this very moment. So people are excited, and people are um, kind of gung ho about looking to build. It's a new frontier, and people are unsatisfied with what they're leaving behind, with whatever tradition they're coming from, and joining a whole new, growing community already. So everything's kind of fun and new, I suppose. And just so that already has a lot of excitement there.
Have you, like, in your parish, because I feel like in my parish and in parishes previously, there's always talk about building like an Orthodox commune. Do people talk
Yeah.
about that in Riverside, where it's like, we build like a greater Orthodox community, like pretty much a village, right? So we talked about village mentality.
Yeah.
And because in the old days, villages were centered and communities were centered around the church, right? Like literally that you lived like a 5-minute walk from the
Mm.
church. And there's a desire to recreate that in America. And it's challenging because it requires a lot of land, right? Number one. And it's hard to kind of get people, again, because we have this mentality or this culture of like individualism and atomization, to then, like we said, like you have to actually like contribute and put skin in the game in order to build and be a part of a community like this. So I haven't seen anyone actually attempt to do it successfully, is what I'm trying to get at, actually.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to take some time. We have to take a few cracks at it. But there are most certainly folks at my parish who firstly already live around that neighborhood, who do indeed walk to church, which is, a blessing for them. And there are folks that don't live too far away. And then there are some folks who are interested in, who actually own property around the location where they rent out their homes that they own to parishioners, which is great. And I think we're looking to do more. There's been attempts to buy land, so that's and build homes in like a central location, but it's all slow going. There's a lot of roadblocks, but most certainly interest. I think there's a, there's quite a I think there's a few sort of Orthodox villages that are sprinkled around the U.S. that I've heard about here and there, and some that are in the midst of growing, being established now even. But I think it's most certainly on people's minds to do that kind of thing.